Oh, I think we're live. There we go. I think there's some people already here. Oh no. Hi
I saw some
everyone.
things.
We're live in the Facebook group. If someone is here, please let us know. Write a comment. There's comments from the reminder post that we see. So if anyone is here live, watching
Oh,
us
Michelle's
live,
here.
hi Michelle. Yes. Hi Michelle. Oh my God, it's so good to see you here. Um, if anyone else is here, just like comment or react or something. We've got Megan, Meg K, the VA, with us live to chat about her start and her journey to becoming a virtual assistant. And I know a lot of you in this group are exploring the idea of becoming a virtual assistant, or you're at the beginning stages, and it can seem really overwhelming at the start. Like, what steps do I do next? What do I prioritize? Like, how do I make this virtual assistant thing happen? And it's so awesome to have Megan here today to tell us about her journey and the steps that she took and the decisions she made to become a successful virtual assistant, because that will then help you kind of visualize your own steps and give you a little bit of insight into what goes into creating a successful virtual assistant business. So, enough about me blabbing on. Megan, if you could just let us know a little bit about you, where you're from, and yeah, just tell us your story, I guess, from the beginning. And guys,
Okay.
if you have any questions, sorry,
No, you're
if
fine.
you have if you have any questions while kind of Megan is talking, you can just put them in the comments and we'll get to them. Either if it's part of the conversation, we can address them during the conversation, Megan, or we can address them at the end. But yeah, Megan, if you can just let us know how you got started. I know you've only been a VA for about just
6 months.
over a year and a half.
Not
You've been a
even.
VA for 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So you've only been a VA for 6 months,
Yes.
right? And you're already kind of booked out
Yeah. And
and you
already looking to hire. So,
hire like subcontractors.
yeah. Yeah. So
Oh wow.
it's been a whirlwind. So first, thanks so much for having me here. This is my first Facebook Live, but I'm so excited to be here and to talk to your people who are just starting out. I wish I had a group like this when I was starting out a few months ago. But just a little bit about me. I'm Megan Baker. I live in Chicago. I'm originally from St. Louis. Um, Kind of more about me. I was a teacher for 6 years. I have a master's degree in teaching, so that has given me a lot of skills that I didn't really realize I had. A lot of teachers know how to write. A lot of teachers know how to manipulate content like I do. And I do offer course creation now, but that's just something that I thought everyone knew how to do because all of my colleagues could do it. Um, but anyway, I was working in a charter school, which for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a public school, but kind of has its own rules. So I was in a French immersion school. I'm fluent in French, and I was teaching there with low income kids, and I loved it. But I was really losing myself in it, and wasn't really able to care for myself or really leverage my gifts to help kids, and I wasn't really able to show up for myself or for my husband or for my dog, Lucy, who's my pride and joy. But
Oh,
anyway, I had some personal stuff happen, and it just kind of hit me that this wasn't where I needed to be. So my best friend, who's in the entrepreneur space, her name's Kelsey. She's a brand designer, or yeah, a brand and graphic designer, big ladypreneur in the space. Maria, she's how we got connected.
yes.
But she was like, Megan, you love to support people. You should be a VA. I'm like, what the heck is a VA? I never even heard of it. So this was December of 2016. So I kind of at that point decided I knew I was going to quit my job and do whatever being a VA was. I wasn't really sure. But then I kind of got lucky because my impetus for just leaving was my husband got transferred to Chicago. So I wanted to leave my job anyway. So I ended up moving to Chicago in June and setting up my LLC in June. but I just kind of realized it was do or die. Like I either need to do it, and I knew I was going to make mistakes. And I still have all the things going on in my brain. Like, what do I need to do first? Blah. But I just knew either I do it or I was going to have to get my teaching license in Illinois and go back to teaching. So that's kind of what landed me in being a VA. I know that I love to support others and use my skills that way. And I knew I needed to find a career where I could care for myself and be present for my family. And it was really hard for me to leave my 9 to 5 because I love those kids. But I had to kind of remind myself that I was going to find my way to leverage my gifts and help kids, even if it wasn't in the classroom.
Okay. So basically a friend told you, you should be a VA. You hadn't heard of the term before.
No.
So, I mean, what appealed to, I can definitely understand the appeal, especially in your position of being a VA and working in your own time and setting your own hours and just having more time for self-care.
Right.
So you decided this sounds like it's for me.
Right.
And where did you find sort of any resources? How did you learn like what exactly went into being a VA?
I went on Facebook and I did some research there, and I found a couple groups. So that's where I got my ideas for all of the different things I could offer. And I really started out just offering all of the things. So, I got lucky because my friend Kelsey ended up making my website. So starting out, well, I actually knew somebody, my dog trainer wanted me to do a few hours for her, just sprucing up her SEO on her blog. So it was really who I knew. So like before my LLC was even set up, and you don't have to set up an LLC right away, but I just did. And I remember the spring beforehand, I also did a lot of research on how to set up an LLC, if I should do it. So I found a few resources on how to do it. So I did my research that way, but I really I just threw myself in because I knew somebody who needed about 20 hours of help. I charged $25 an hour and started that in June. And then I ended up getting another client who was good friends with my friend Kelsey. And I'm still working for her now. She just needed some help with her like social media and curating and writing some content. So then I started working for her. And then really it was someone posted in a Facebook group like, hey, my friend Meg's available for VA stuff. And it's hard for whatever reason. There are so many great VAs out there, but it's hard for people to kind of do that. So I just kind of started taking on clients, and through literally offering anything from like emails to social media, I'm realizing where my genius is and what I like to do. So now I'm kind of trying to transition into focusing more and handing off other things and being a little pickier about the kind of client I need to do. But I also did a lot of work of like my brand visioning, of like understanding who my ideal client is, what kind of life do I want to have. So I hope that kind of answers the question. I really started doing literally anything.
And did you already know how to do literally anything, like the SEO stuff that you were dog training?
Not really. My first client kind of taught me how to do it. So yeah, she taught me how. I mean, luckily,
was it your dog trainer or walker?
Yeah, it was my dog trainer.
So so she taught you how to do it, and then she kind of just said, keep doing this.
Okay. Yeah. And then I've also, I do Lynda, Lynda, for a lot of my continuing training too. So I learned Illustrator and that. And then if I knew I could learn platforms pretty quickly. So once I had a client who needed some Squarespace support, I took I did the Squarespace classes on Lynda and learned that pretty quickly. But now I'm realizing that I can hire that stuff out. So some of it I knew a little bit. I did a little bit of blogging when it was kind of cool in like 2009. And I knew a little bit about Google Analytics, not a whole lot. So I just kind of jumped in and took opportunities I could to train myself on different platforms.
So was your dog trainer your first client?
Yeah.
And did you tell her or him, sorry, her, okay.
It doesn't matter,
Did you tell her that you were like kind of starting to do VA stuff?
Yeah.
Or did
yes.
she?
We were just in like very general, like chit chatty conversation in my dining room after she was like teaching my dog how to lie down or something. And I mentioned like, yeah, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do this. She's like, really? Like, I tried to transfer my blog from one platform to another and I just need some help with that.
Awesome.
And I was like, cool. But then one day she texted me. I was literally teaching. She was like, can I contract you for some work? And I was like, what do I do? So I like Googled how to come up with a contract. And like, so I think what can hold us back so much is like making sure everything's perfect.
Yeah.
And I like didn't know how to invoice, but I Googled something and I just did it. Like, and granted, I've had to make a lot of adjustments, but I just kind of went head on.
It's good because you were taught, like your first client was kind of a friend or someone within your personal network.
Exactly.
And they knew your story and they probably didn't expect you to have everything perfectly in place.
No.
So there is that leeway of like, you're kind of learning as you go and you're learning new skills and they're perfectly happy with that and they're perfectly fine to help.
And if you don't charge a whole lot of money starting out, then you have that room to do that. So, and I'm what they call a quick start. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Kolbe test, Kolbe, but Erin Morgan, my business coach, is big into it. And it's not like the Myers-Briggs, but it's more like just to see how you work if you're left to your own devices intuitively. And one of the measures is quick start. And I'm a very high quick start. So if I get an idea, I just kind of do it. And granted, I've had to make a lot of adjustments, but even as far as like how to invoice my client or do my books, I'm like about to go on my third bookkeeping software. Like I started with QuickBooks Desktop, hate it. Then did QuickBooks Online, hate it. Now I'm going to like switch over to something else. So it does have its drawbacks when you just go in head first, but you just kind of make adjustments from there. But yeah, it really started out with the personal connections that I had and starting out, and they're kind of understanding that, oh, like you're new, it's fine. I'll train you for a few minutes on this thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you got some more clients was it someone else who posted in a Facebook group about you?
Yes.
That's really awesome because you're getting that validation from somebody else that you're someone worth hiring.
Right.
So that's really awesome. And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, and I think it's really important too to leverage the contacts that you have and like leverage your personal group. I'm in a Facebook, or I'm in a group. Also, I try to spend a lot of my resources on education, but there's one group where I'm hoping to learn more about pitching higher paying clients and improve my copy work. It's called the 6-Figure Freelancer. And they talk a lot about how even just like putting it out there, like even if you think you don't have a network, your friends are your network. And it's not that you need to pitch them for like pay you, but just let them know what you're up to and see if they can even give you referrals or even give you advice. And like including people in that will make people really want to support you and like open you up to different possibilities and different people who could use your support. So it's really leveraging even your personal network.
I completely agree. And that is actually a really scary thing to do. I think to kind of make this huge announcement, even sometimes to like maybe your Facebook timeline that you're doing this now. It's a really scary thing to expose yourself and all these new projects. But I think it's so important to kind of get over that fear because there's a whole group of people who are your friends and they might be your biggest supporters and your biggest referral network. And it is so worth getting over that fear because who knows?
Yeah, and I still have a lot of fear with growing my business. I'm having to make some big changes and it's scary, but the fear doesn't always
changes.
Well,
if you can talk about it, you don't have to talk about it. But
well, I'm realizing, one thing that I think is also huge is getting a support network, not just with your personal people, but also once I did get some revenue. And again, before you can like make big investments in education, I'm spending a lot of my money in education and in support. I realized that once I like had a waiting list that I needed a coach or I needed some sort of community. So I ended up I couldn't afford my business coach one-on-one. So I ended up, I'm in this mastermind. And that's been huge with helping me figure out different steps that I need to take and kind of understanding the fears that I have and getting over those fears. But so with that, I didn't even know like what my next steps needed to be. But with that, I've realized that we were in Orlando last week for our like big kickoff mastermind thing, and we have calls every month. But anyway, I'm just like, what do I need to do? Like, I feel kind of stuck. Like, I have more work. I really need to be charging more money for my services, especially because this is my full-time job now. And I have dreams and goals, but within this framework of the support group, I'm realizing everyone has their genius. And I'm really realizing my genius is like being a fangirl for my clients. Like, I get really excited about entrepreneurs and like doing their awesome things. And I'm realizing I really love writing blogs. Like, if people can give me their awesome ideas, like I'm not a high level copywriter yet, to like write sales pages and web copy, but that's something for me to aim for. But I'm realizing I really need to be spending more of my time writing copy, like making relationships with people. And I'm thinking maybe my bigger goal is to maybe do like a PR agency eventually, but I need the time and the bandwidth to make these relationships, get more people kind of lined up to work with me. And I need to be spending less time like writing captions or like helping someone with their acuity. And
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, Christina, I did feel incredibly insecure in the beginning. I didn't see your whole comment, but absolutely.
I'm so sorry, Christina. My comments aren't showing up for some reason.
I only saw the first part of it.
Oh, there you go. Megan, did you feel insecure in the beginning? Did you feel that you were lacking too many required skills and knowledge? I feel
Yes.
this way and it holds me back.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like when you're starting out and people know you're starting out, and if you're not charging a ton, like let's say 25 or 30 an hour, oh my gosh, and I'm still undercharging for a lot of stuff. That's another thing I'm working through and fears around that. But I was really scared, but part of it, I was more scared to go back to my 9 to 5, I think was how it was.
And it's funny. So you started out at $25 an hour, $30 an hour, and that was too low. And people were fine to pay that, even though you were just starting out. And see, I don't know if you guys agree watching, but I think maybe for a lot of you, that's a lot. That's a big number to shoot for, I think, as a starting rate. For anyone who's just starting out, like that takes a lot of guts to charge that, I think. And like, well done for doing that. So
well, even now it's really hard to increase. Yeah. But I think if a lot of times people price shop their VAs, and the copy on my website is still old. I still need to update it, but I need to figure some stuff out. But it's like, hey, get me for 10 hours for $35 an hour. It's hard to move yourself up. So,
Christina, Megan said, sorry, Christina's asking how much. She was charging $25 an hour, I think, in the beginning.
I started at 10 hour. My very first client before I even had a real website was 25 an hour.
25 an hour.
And I just did 20 hours for her.
Did she buy a package of hours of 20 hours for the month?
I did. I wasn't even doing it monthly yet. I think I just did, let's do 10 hours. I like doing monthly. One drawback though, I would recommend, and I didn't do this, that you don't let your hours roll over or think about that. Because I'm even still stuck in some stuff where people have hours from like December that I'm still making up. And it's making me pull my hair out. So
you can at least have like an expiration date for the hours.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, depending on what you want to do. Well, and I saw, Christina, you charge 16 on Upwork. Well, and Upwork takes a chunk of that, don't they? So maybe try 20 or 25. And it depends on what you can offer people. But people see.
Sorry, continue. Sorry. So I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, well, people see you kind of have to put out and I need to take my own advice, like price yourself at the value you kind of feel like. I mean, I can't charge people $100 an hour yet. And I'm trying to get up to like 55 and 60. And that's really scary for me too. But starting out, if you charge too low, you're going to lose your dang mind.
And I think the quality of client that you're going to get who's only willing to pay that much is going to be just a horrible client who wants more than
Your
you can
soul.
possibly imagine. Yeah. So by
And it's not,
pricing,
yeah, and it's not going to feel in alignment with you if you're not. Again,
Mhm.
I need to take my own advice because I'm severely undercharging some people right now. I'm a teacher. I always practice what I preach, right? But yeah, it might not end up feeling in alignment with you, and you might end up hating every minute of it. So, I
Yeah,
mean, in starting out, yeah, price yourself lower, but you got to be
but
careful with
within
that.
reason. Um,
Hmm.
have you ever tried job boards like Upwork or Freelancer or Fiverr or anything like that? Okay, so you've gotten all of your clients. Is it mainly through referrals?
Yeah, and my
Okay.
personal relationships. And now I don't know how people are finding me now, but I did spend a lot of time doing brand work. And well, my best friend is a brand strategist, and you don't have to get clients with a website. You don't have to do all that high level like brand visioning. But I got lucky. My friend had a course that I took that she gifted to me. It's about who you know and the universe and like, you know, running into it. But I did a lot of really hard thinking work about my brand as Meg K the VA and how I want to show up in the world. And I did a lot of thinking about what my values are like as a brand. And these aren't necessarily client facing, but through a lot of like brainstorming and this brand visioning process, I realized I'll share with you. My brand values are joy, harmony, and engage. So I really try to like show up that way when, and I'm not super good at it, and my Instagram isn't like perfectly curated or anything, but I try to make my website reflect that. And again, I had a friend help me with my website and my branding.
It's
Um,
beautiful.
Thank you. But I
It
had
really
all
is.
these, I did the brand visioning work and I did all the ideas. I'm like, listen, and I looked at my competition and I was really strategic about how are other VAs showing up. I saw a lot of balance. I'm like, well, I love balance, but I don't want to use that word anywhere because everyone else uses it. So I looked in a thesaurus and I got harmony. I'm like, that's perfect. And I can apply that in a lot of different ways to my own life and how I show up and how people view my brand and how I want my clients to live their life. But then I just try to show up this way. And some people are finding me on Instagram, but it can kind of spread like wildfire because some people are like, oh, I found you on B School. I didn't even know what B School was. Marie Forleo's B's. I didn't even know what it was. But like, I know someone who knows someone who's in this, who does B School and is in this Facebook group and found me, or even on Instagram through like
Mhm.
hashtags and stuff, random people are finding me. But
I
it
think,
started with referrals.
yeah, but I think that just proves the point of how important it is to cultivate relationships with
Mm-hmm.
people in your industry, not necessarily like your prospective clients, but just people who who are in this space. Just cultivate relationships, make friendships, and then all of a sudden they'll be referring you and they'll be mentioning you on posts, and you'll
Right.
be that go-to person for whatever it is that you do.
Right. And think about like a quick elevator pitch of like
Mhm.
what it is you do and how you can show up for your clients. A lot of people don't even know what a virtual assistant is. And sometimes I even struggle like, whoa, I'm like an administrative assistant, but virtual. I mean, I'm more than that, but it's good to just have that ready. Or one of my clients literally came from, well, it's how you show up in every single day. My makeup artist for my wedding back in 2016 is an entrepreneur, and she and Kelsey, my best friend, who's an entrepreneur and the brand person I've been blabbing about, they were talking. But anyway, I made friends with my makeup artist. I follow her on Instagram. Then she saw that I was being a VA, and then she referred me to one of her friends who's a boudoir photographer, and I've been writing blog copy for her. And it was really that made me realize I love writing blog copy for cool creatives. So it's literally about who you know. And I know I got lucky with the people I know, but it's
Yeah,
really putting yourself out there,
it
and
is.
it's really scary. But I was honestly more scared of going back to my past life of teaching, and I didn't want to do that.
And so you haven't looked back. Like you're totally happy with this and
Mhm.
you're growing and you're going to raise your prices and you're going to get your ideal clients and you're going
Right.
to get
And don't get me wrong,
subcontractors.
it's really scary. And being a business owner and not and an entrepreneur, definitely has its challenges, and it's really scary, but I like what I'm doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing, what other stuff is out there. But
I
yeah,
love
it's scary as hell, but it's I don't want to go back to the 9 to 5.
you're in complete control of how this is all going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you keep showing up, if you do the work, if you kind of have a idea of where you want to end up and you just do the work every day and you show up, then you're eventually just going to get there. And that is so exciting.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's really doing a lot of work and figuring out exactly what you want,
Mhm.
as far as like what your ideal day looks like. And I did this in the very beginning. So much has changed, and I'm almost falling into this trap of letting like my client work dictate it. But now I have to remind myself, like, you are the leader of your business. You are the leader. Decide what you want. And then slowly you'll start shifting. It is scary, Michelle. I got to pull up my big girl pants all the time. I'm terrified most of the time, but I need to. And one thing I struggle with is being able to show up as a leader for my business and as a leader for myself. I'm incredibly good at advocating for kids and speaking up when it comes to that, like in the school setting. And I'm going to try to join like a board here in Chicago of like a boys and girls club, so I can speak up and show up for those kids who are underserved. And I took leadership roles when I was teaching at a pretty young age, at like 23 and 24, and like was able to stand up to like older colleagues who are in it for a long time. And I'm just realizing, why don't I do that for myself and my business? So I'm learning too. I need to be a leader, but I'm learning that you plan what you want ideally, and that's going to keep shifting. But then you just try to build it around that. And yeah, it's scary, but that's why I've built support. I spend a lot of my money on education and on having my business coach and a mastermind who can support me. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, guys, what should I do? But I'm to the point now where it's like, no, I'm the leader of my business. I can do it. I can make the decisions and I can grow how I want to. And yeah, it's scary, but I have a very needy dog, and it's nice being able to be home with her more often. So
I love how you said that you started off doing all the things.
mhm.
And then by doing all the things, you discovered what it is that you
Yep.
actually like to do,
Yep.
which is writing and copy and blogging. And now you can kind of really hone in your services to kind of serve that kind of
Right.
need a little bit
Right.
better.
Yeah. And I'm good at not a lot of things, but it's also figuring out what I really like to do instead of what I'm just good at. Like
Mhm.
I can make acuity schedules, but I'm realizing shifting energies from doing copy to like doing scheduling, it's so draining. So, I need to hire somebody. And of course I'm like, oh, what do I do first? Like try to make, try to gross more money and then hire someone. I'm like, just hire somebody and pray,
Yeah.
asking the universe that it all works out. So yeah,
Pitch yourself.
exactly. So
Like I always tell like VA clients, they're like prospective clients, like I don't know if it's time, if I'm ready to hire a VA. And I always say like you should hire before you're ready. Um,
exactly.
so that they can get to know your business and your systems and the way you work, so that when you are in that place where you're desperate for that extra support, you've got someone at the ready, ready to take the reins.
Exactly. So I'm just
So,
doing it. I have some interviews this week. I literally only posted for like 2 days on a couple Facebook groups and my personal Facebook, like I'm hiring, and I have 7 amazing applicants. So I'm going to try to figure that out. But yeah, and part of it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. And I feel like even though I am like a quick start and I just kind of run with things, my stepdad says it's like I'm ready, fire, aim. And so most people are like ready, aim, fire. I just like do it and try to fix it. But
yeah.
sometimes I feel like this perfectionism is like, oh, but you don't know exactly what you're doing. It's like, just do the thing and get as many resources as you can and try to ask people who know or find that support who can give you some tips. You're going to make mistakes at the end of the day and you're going to learn from them. Again, I need to take my own advice. I'm a horrible perfectionist over here, but yeah, so it's
Awesome.
it's super scary, but sometimes you just have to start somewhere. And like you said, Maria, I started just doing everything. Then you find out what you like, what you're good at. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like on my website, it says I literally do everything. I don't really want to clean up people's email inboxes anymore. But if someone wants me to write their copy and they also want their email inbox cleaned, I might hire someone to help me with that. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. So you'll hire someone to do all the QD email stuff, and then you'll
exactly
focus on stuff that you like. Okay,
exactly, yeah. So it's scary.
So you've been in business like 6 months, and already you've kind of figured out what it is that you want to focus on.
I just missed the last. Sorry, my internet broke out. I missed what you said.
So you've been in business like only 6 months, and already after doing all the things for a few months, you've already figured out what it is that you want to really specialize in. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I
cool.
figured it out like last week. Thanks to my mastermind group. Yeah.
Okay, so your mastermind group helped you with that. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having the support and just having people to talk things through. While I am the leader of my own business and all that good stuff, it is good to kind of have a nice group of people who can maybe see more in you than you might see in yourself at the moment. And I'm all for believing in yourself and being self-confident. But I realize that when people ask me the right questions, like, what is it that you love? Oh, I love to write blog copy. But I'm
realizing sorry to interrupt. I'm realizing a lot of people, I don't know if you guys watching, do you guys know what a mastermind is? Because I've come across a lot of people recently who might not know what a mastermind is. And if you don't know, just feel free to ask and we'll just quickly respond. But a mastermind is pretty much, I guess, just really briefly, like a group of people who are mostly entrepreneurs who get together on a regular basis and kind of just talk to each other about their businesses. They'll have hot seats where somebody will kind of take the lead for about 15 minutes and talk about their specific issues, and everyone will kind of give their feedback and sort of just talk them through any issues. So it's usually an intimate group of about, I don't know, like 6 or 7 people or so.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works for you.
12 people.
Really okay.
But yeah, and my I didn't know what a mastermind was. I'm like, how do I get in one? My mastermind is a paid one with my business coach, and that's how she can offer more support. I could not afford her one-on-one. I'm not there yet, but yeah, so it's a group that she's cultivated of myself and about 10 or 11 other entrepreneurs who mine do a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, so we do calls like twice a month, and we had a big live kickoff a couple weeks ago in Orlando, and I was the last hot seat for us to like talk about I was the last one, so I got to hear everyone else like talk through their business problems. I was so drained. I just started crying during my hot seat. But I got a lot out of it, so it's fine.
I love that. It's just testament to how powerful these sessions can be. Mm-hmm. Like when I was at my last live mastermind, I think pretty much 2 or 3 out of the 7 people at the table cried during their hot seat.
But when your business is with them. Yeah. Well, but it was really validating because my coach and my fellow gals were like, your business has moved at a really high velocity, like, and you're changing a lot. It's okay, which is great. It's just nice to have people who have your back and get business. While I have my Puggle is a great support, and so is my husband. They're not in
the trenches with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And my dog is not holding her weight as far as assisting the virtual assistant. So I have to hire somebody. But yeah, so my mastermind's been good. We had some training on like trainings that I would have never even known about, like sales trainings and different stuff like that. And from there, I got some tips about hiring and how to do my interviews. It's kind of like a sales call and go through these steps and blah, blah, blah. But then I get connected with a lot of awesome people too. So getting in groups like that is a really good way to connect with people also. And then when I was hiring, one of my girls was like, I'll put it in my B School Facebook group. I'm like, great. So it's also a nice way to get connected. But I couldn't do this by myself. I mean, my best friend's an entrepreneur, so I can cry to her. She can cry to me when it gets hard, but we would never go back to our 9-to-5s.
No, I think I would deem myself completely unemployable right now, unhireable. I would be the worst employee, I think.
It was a miracle that I like put my makeup on and pants on and was ready to go at like 9 a.m. this morning. Like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking back to my old days of like, I would have to be out the door by 7:30. That's even late for some people. So
So
yeah.
you mentioned you do a lot of the places that you show up are mainly like Instagram and you're in
Mhm.
Facebook. I'm just interested to know what kind of outreach you do. I know you get lots of clients, you said, from referrals and stuff, but you do
Mhm.
a lot of outreach yourself.
Not yet, just because I am book solid right now and I have a lot of outreach, and I was still trying to figure out what exactly is it that I'm trying to sell people.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Oh, excuse me. Now that I've kind of moved away from packages or from like hourly, and I'm kind of doing some more like package base and really trying to figure out what it is I want to sell. And I had some packages before. But now that I'm trying to figure out, now that I'm coming up with a new stack of like my offerings, I'm going to have to actually prospect more. Yeah, I haven't really done a lot of outreach yet, but well, I do though, just so I can build community. I'm thinking about my ideal client, and right now my ideal client does hang out on Instagram. Um, but I'll follow hashtags and like try to engage with other people, even just to build my following. And it's not that I'm trying to sell my services to them right now, but I do follow certain people who I think are doing cool things on Instagram, and I'll write to them. Oh, and I did learn with the new algorithm for 2018 on Instagram, don't just do an emoji or like 2 words. You should at least write like 6 words, and it's good to like tag the person in it too. So I do some outreach just with the people who are in my circle on Instagram and following people on hashtags. And a goal of mine, if I'm going to do like my big 5-year dream of like PR stuff, I'm going to have to do a lot more outreach, but I'm going to maybe try to like pitch bigger companies. And in Chicago, I'm trying to do more networking stuff too. My husband's in an industry where he needs to do it too. So I want to do some personal outreach, just in different clubs and such. But also on Instagram, I think mainly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how we got connected. I think
Yeah,
Instagram is such an awesome place to be because, like you said, you might not be getting prospective clients as your followers, but you are building your following and your network and your
right.
tribe, I guess, and they'll refer
Right.
you, and who knows what these connections create.
Exactly. Yeah. And we totally connected via Instagram because
Mhm.
my friend was following you, and you and I follow a lot of the same people.
Yes.
So we know a lot of the same people, which is great. But also, live events has been really, really good too. Well, Being Boss
Mhm.
podcast.
Mhm.
I went to their Being Boss vacation in New Orleans in October. I literally signed up for it when I was still a teacher, like last April. I'm like, what's a VA? What's a Being Boss? I don't know. But the quick start of me was like, great, where do I sign up? And so luckily I had the money, I could just sign up for it. And now I
Oh,
can
that's
write it off as a business expense. Um,
awesome. I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to Being Boss. If you guys, it's a podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I would recommend like listening from the start. That is
mhm.
definitely, I started listening like, when did they start? Like 2 years ago or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
I started listening from the very beginning and it was so motivating and inspiring. And it was just the kick up the butt I needed to kind of leave my job and just start this own business on my own. They just made it sound so awesome and so doable. And it's just worth having a listen,
Well, they
guys.
have amazing content too. And I think a lot of my connections did come from Being Boss and people who were in the clubhouse and those masterminds. My friend was in one of the masterminds and was like, have you heard of Megan? And I'm like, hi. But then I got to meet a lot of people personally when I went to one of those live events. But yeah, even if they don't have like a big Facebook group anymore, but even if you listen to their podcast, they have amazing content. And I feel like a lot of times if you're spinning about certain things, if you can find the right content or the right people who can lead you to that content, even if you're like, guys, I don't know if I should set up an LLC or a blah. Like I know through one of my clients has a great blog post about that I can connect you with. Like if you ask, people can connect you with free resources to help you with the things and figure it out. And I know it's so overwhelming at first, but you kind of take it one thing at a time, I feel like.
Definitely. I know Christina asked earlier, I don't think we addressed the question. Did you register immediately your own freelancing business formally? Because I know you just mentioned starting the LLC. LLC. So you did do that from the very beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you don't have to. I did.
Mhm.
I just felt like it. Well, I have a lot of my own. I need to protect it, or I just wanted to make sure that what other assets I have were protected. And I don't think people are really going to come after and sue me if I mess up like an acuity scheduling thing. But for to protect some of my own assets, I have a dog. It's not like I have a lot, but so that just to make sure I feel like foundations are so important. And I meant to touch on this earlier, like your brand foundations, or even like building certain business foundations and systems. I didn't do them right necessarily the first time, but I am glad for my own self that I set up my LLC. So now I don't have to worry about it. But I have people in my mastermind who have been doing like web development for years and they don't have an LLC set up, and that's okay too. I chose to do that route, but you don't have to do that right away. And it takes some capital to do that too. So if you don't have the starting capital for it, I think as long as you get I don't know, I'm not a CPA or a bookkeeper, but I think as long as you keep those finances separate from your other finances, I don't think you have to set up your LLC right away. You will want to eventually, but you don't have to.
I think obviously it depends what country you're in, which kind of what things that you need to do. And I think Christina's in Poland or Italy.
Okay.
Sorry. So yeah, that's definitely helpful. Definitely to know that. But Christina, I guess you're probably best to speak to like an accountant or a tax person or something to see whether you would probably do need to register as a freelancer and kind of declare like a freelancer income or something like that. So definitely speak to a professional about that.
Sorry, I forgot we're on the World Wide Web here.
No, that's
I hear
fine.
your American accent. I forget. Yeah.
Because I asked
Italy.
In Italy, yeah, totally.
I would
Because
ask,
it's helpful for others to know about LLCs in the States and stuff and whether they should set that up.
Right. So, and just for people, an LLC is just a limited liability corporation. So it's just setting up the business. But yeah, Christina, I don't know the laws in the EU and in Italy. So I would maybe ask someone, but I would imagine you'd want to keep things pretty separate, your freelancing income and any of that. But yeah, I in the States, I did get that stuff set up pretty early.
Awesome. And I love that you have like bigger goals. Like the goal is not to be a virtual assistant for the rest of your life. Like the bigger goal is to have like your own PR agency. Or
I didn't realize this until my mastermind last week. But yeah, I mean, I knew what my bigger goal, I actually didn't really know. And I don't think you have to know, but I think you can go into it realizing this is going to take me somewhere else, and that's fine. So now I'm realizing that I have this like fangirl quality and I can organize and manage people. That I think this is my big goal. I didn't know it though.
But I love how like starting off as a VA has taken you on this journey.
Yeah.
Like, and you probably wouldn't have ended up there if you hadn't taken that first step to being a virtual assistant and doing all the things and then doing copy and then working with the clients that you love and you fangirl over.
Yeah.
And that has taken you to this direction where you're somewhere completely different, and it's exciting, and you would never have known that. And
it's really fun to dream now. Like my dreams before were like, maybe I'll be a principal of a school and hate my life and I need to go to grad school for this. But now I'm like, oh, I have so many other opportunities. And I think so much too, we feel like you have to find one career and stick to it. With this digital age, I heard like people switch careers all the time. And it's, so that's such a good point, Maria. I didn't even realize, or like, being a VA and literally starting to do like, I'll do anything. It is really opening me up to like dreams I never even thought about and people who I wouldn't have met otherwise. It's pretty exciting.
That's what I tell like people who want to leave their 9-to-5 and they want to have like a freedom lifestyle and a freedom income and stuff, and they don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. What should they do? And
literally do
is a place to be.
Yeah.
So you can go online, like offer your services because they're always going to be in demand. And you'll find your way. You'll find where you want to end up. Like just try new things, and you're getting paid to do these new things.
Right. And if you want to start with Skillshare or one of those things, fine. If you can tap into your network, try not to do that. And you don't have to have a perfect website or anything. Like my business coach did not have her updated website for a long time, and she was still selling the crap out of her services. So yeah, it's just offering, if you're starting out as a VA, just offer anything. And I'm sure you have resources for like different ideas and different things that VAs can offer. So I really started out there and was like, that sounds fine. Okay, I'll offer that. And people who want a VA, they'll come to you with all sorts of weird stuff that they want. And you can either do it or not, or, whatever. Yeah.
So thank you so much. We've been talking for like 45 minutes.
Oh, yay.
I just wanted to go out to the group a little bit and see if anyone has any specific questions that you'd like Megan to answer. Anything that we didn't cover. Are you like dying to know something about starting a virtual assistant business or anything at all about starting an online business, networking, setting your prices and your rates and your packages, anything at all? Just put it in the comments and we'll get to it.
And one question you gave me, Christina, was what was your biggest investment starting out your business? Was definitely my computer. So if you got that, you're probably fine.
Yes. All you need is a computer and a Wi-Fi connection, and you can take over the world.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give everyone watching about starting a VA business, really?
My advice would be, you don't have to be perfect. You just need to get started and find your support and find your people and just do it.
Awesome. So we've got a question from Michelle. What are you looking for when you look to outsource?
So I'm realizing with hiring, I learned from my mastermind that I need to be really, really clear about what I want. And sometimes I don't really know because I'm trying to think about what it is exactly I want to hand off. But for me, I was super clear when I was hiring. I made a Google Doc and like shared the link. But I was thinking about, per advice and just some of my own stuff, I thought about personality. I realized that I'm kind of goofy and not for everybody. And I like to crack jokes, even if I'm not trying to. So I was definitely looking with someone who can gel with my personality and can make things fun. I'm looking to see if someone is, what their availability is. I have a lot of people who maybe have a full-time job and like a million side hustles. So I really need to see what their time is like and if they can give me the time that I need. I'm looking to see if people are looking to grow their own business with virtual assisting or really ready to take just more of a support role for me. And then I listed different programs that I want people to do. And I really had to realize what my genius is. Not that I'm a genius at it, but I want more time to write copy. And I'm imagining I'm going to want more time to manage. So I thought about the other tasks I wanted to hand off. So I'm like, please no acuity, please. And like, I want some help putting things onto WordPress, into Squarespace, as far as blog content goes. So I really thought through the things that I wanted to hand off. But then I thought about some other qualities that I would want. I think someone who's a quick study, who can learn really fast is important. I did not know all of this stuff starting out. I mean, my ideal candidate would know all the things, but so if I might not find someone who knows all the things, but thinking about also what sort of hard skills that they have as far as different programs, or as long as they're technologically savvy. And then also some soft skills that if I need them to be client facing, that they can communicate well, that they can kind of problem solve on their own. So I hope that answers your question. That was a lot of things I'm looking for. And then I'm doing some interviews to kind of see, or I'm going to interview a few people and see how that works and kind of try to find all of that stuff out and see if they'd be a good fit for where I am right now.
Awesome. I think that's really helpful because I think a lot of VAs if you're just starting out, would like to work under other VAs or for like a
Hmm.
VA agency so they can get their feet wet. And that's really helpful to
Yeah.
see what someone like you is looking for, because that's probably
Mhm.
what other people are looking for as well.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think we're just going to come to the end of this chat. I don't know if Megan, if there's anything else you want to share, if you could let us know where we can find you and learn more about you, and if you've got
Yeah.
any useful resources for everyone.
Yeah, that'd be great. So you can find me at my website at megktheva.com. On there, I have a free resource for helpful handoffs, so different things that people can pass off to their VA. So you guys should totally download it. That can give you some ideas too of different things that you can offer people. And find me on Instagram. I love Instagram at megktheva. So
Love
just
it.
MEGKVA. And yeah,
Is Kay your
so
middle name? Like, is
yeah,
your middle
Kathleen.
Kathleen?
Yeah,
Okay,
Kathleen's.
that's
So I came up, my friend was like, I like that it rhymes, Meg K the VA. So I just went with it.
it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't even think of anything else. Again, the quick start of me, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound horrible. Let's do that. I don't know what else to do. So
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. If nobody else has any questions, even if you do and you're watching this in the replay, maybe if you write them in the comments, we'll see them later and we'll try to answer them afterwards. But again, thank you so much for joining us,
you're
Megan.
so welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun.
It's been really fun and I think
Yay.
so helpful and so insightful. And yes, I think you've just really given some like a lot of inspiration, and like you've made it sound so doable. So
It is. And not to say it's not scary, but it opens up a lot of opportunities and it really pushes yourself to new levels and new income goals that you never thought were possible. So, yeah,
wonderful.
I'm so glad to
Wonderful.
share.
And thank you guys for tuning in. Um, Thank you so much for your questions and engaging. And we'll be back really soon. I'm going to be talking to someone else next week about their VA journey. And yeah, it's all happening. Thank you so
Yay.
much again,
You're so
Megan.
welcome.
Have a wonderful time, guys.
Thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Is that over?
I think we're still live.